Here's the deal. People are starting to wake up to the fact that life can't just be all about work. Everyone's talking about this work-life balance thing like it's some new discovery. But the truth, it's in the small stuff we do every day. It's in deciding to shut the laptop at 6 p.m., go out for lunch with the fam, or dive into a hobby without your mind drifting back to emails. It's like those ancient folks knew. There's a time for everything. So maybe it's time we try that old school way of living. Less grind, more groove. Sound good? And if you're thinking about making that shift, here's a little tip. Create some unplugged moments in your week. Maybe it's a chill game night with friends, a nature walk, or just losing yourself in a good book. Let's remember, life isn't just about clocking in hours and chasing the next to-do list. The wise ones from way back when had it right. A life well lived is one with room for work, love, thinking, and yeah, a bit of fun too. So, how about stepping back a bit and rethinking how you're rolling? Because at the end of the day, it's those balanced, meaningful moments that really stick with you, not just the hustle. And if you're thinking that sitting in silence sounds like a waste of time, think again, buddy. Some of the biggest ideas, the best decisions, come out of those quiet moments. Remember the old Greek philosophers? They were big on what they called creative idleness, which was just a fancy way of saying, take some time to think and do nothing. And honestly, we need more of that today. You'll be surprised how much clarity and peace you get from a few moments of quiet that no app or fancy gadget can give you. So why not turn down the noise for a bit and see what happens? They say, silence speaks louder, and maybe it's time to start listening. I don't know about you, but it seems like everyone's running on empty these days. Modern life has us all hooked on this idea that work is everything. Like, if you're not busy all the time, you're not doing it right. But let's be real, that's a recipe for burnout. The crazy part? The old-timers, they already knew the secret sauce to happiness wasn't working yourself to the bone, but finding that sweet spot between work and play. In ancient Greece, they knew that free time wasn't just nice to have, it was crucial. It was about recharging the mind, body, and soul. So, when was the last time you took a break just for you? No guilt attached. Let's face it, life today is just one big noisy mess, right? It's all notifications buzzing, spam calls ringing, people yapping non-stop. Sometimes it feels like silence is some kind of lost treasure. But here's the thing, the old folks, the wise ones, they knew that silence is where the real stuff happens. Back then, people would carve out time to just be quiet, to think things through, to hear their own thoughts. It was like a reset button for the soul. But today, nah, everyone's running away from silence, like it's a plague. No wonder we're all feeling kinda lost inside. So when was the last time you just sat in the quiet and listened to your own mind? And you know what's kind of funny? With all the tech and gadgets we've got these days, what we really need is some good old quiet time. Something the old school folks knew was gold. Look at those Buddhist monks. They practice this thing called noble silence, and it's not just about shutting up. It's about tuning in to what really matters. Nowadays, people are shelling out big bucks for silent retreats to tap back into this. But hey, you don't need to empty your wallet for that. Just start small. Turn off your phone for a bit, sit on your porch, or take a deep breath and chill for a few minutes. Who knew that the best therapy out there doesn't cost a thing, huh? You've probably heard of the famous blue zones, right? Those places in the world where people live longer and happier. Want to know one of their secrets? Community strength. That's something modern industry can't sell, but makes all the difference. Look around. Ancient cultures did everything together. They supported each other through tough times, celebrated small victories, and slowly, we're finding our way back to that. Support groups, book clubs, community gardens. We're starting to reconnect, to help each other out. Because deep down, we know that nobody needs to face the world alone. And here's a tip. If you're looking to find more genuine connection, why not start small? It could be a Sunday lunch with friends, a walking group in the park, or even a volunteer project. These little actions bring back that old feeling of belonging and mutual support. Because at the end of the day, the ancients already knew. We're all part of something bigger. And life gets a whole lot sweeter when we share the moments, the challenges, and the joys with those around us. So, How about bringing back that sense of community and seeing how much kinder the world can be? Want to bring this into your daily routine? Check this out. The concept of the circadian rhythm sounds fancy, but it's really just about aligning your habits with your body's natural cycle. Sleep when it's dark, wake up with the sun, eat at regular times. This was all pretty obvious to our ancestors, but today it seems like we need to rediscover it, like it's some groundbreaking idea. And that's okay. What matters is getting back to what really works. So, how about we try tuning into that rhythm and see how our bodies thank us? Remember when neighbors were like family? Everyone knew each other, chatted on the front porch, looked out for one another. Man, that's getting lost these days. Now, folks are more isolated, each in their own bubble, and most interactions are more digital than real. But here's the thing. The ancients already knew how important it was to be part of a community, to have a support network. It wasn't just for convenience. It was about survival, about emotional well-being. And while modern industries try to sell us virtual connection, what we really need is face-to-face time, a hug, a genuine smile. Feeling a bit lonely in this? Have you noticed how we're always in a rush these days, trying to fit into the crazy pace of modern life? Meetings, emails, messages, a million notifications. It's like life never stops. But then comes that ancient wisdom to give us a reality check. Nature's rhythms were always respected. Back in the day, people lived by the sun and the seasons. Makes sense, right? In the summer, everyone's got more energy. In the winter, it's time to slow down a bit. But now, nobody wants to stop for a minute. And the result? A society that's tired, stressed, and doesn't even know why. So, how about we start respecting our natural rhythm a little more? The thing is, by ignoring our biological rhythm, we're going against what's natural for us. The old folks knew that sleep, food, and movement needed to follow a flow. Today, people want to hack the system with all these fancy productivity tricks. But the truth is, nobody can run on full throttle all the time. It's like nature, man. No plant grows without a break, no tide stays high forever. And that goes for us too. Feeling burned out? Maybe try adjusting your rhythm, respecting your downtime, eating well, even relaxing a bit. You might just find life gets a little easier. Here's the kicker. Today's society keeps telling us to control everything, all the time. Is it any wonder we're all so stressed out? The Stoics, though, were onto this ages ago. You want to find some peace? Learn to let go of the stuff that's out of your hands. That, my friend, is real resilience. And check this out. Ever heard of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT? It's one of the most popular modern therapies, and guess what? It borrows a lot from Stoicism. When something works, it sticks around. So why not lean into some ancient wisdom that's clearly still kicking around for a reason? Let me hit you with a story. Native American tribes, they've been using storytelling for generations, not just to pass the time, but to build resilience. Imagine sitting around a fire, sharing tales about fears, victories, and everything in between. It wasn't just entertainment. It was how they taught their people to toughen up for whatever life threw at them. And now, look around. Storytelling is having a moment again as this powerful tool for overcoming life's struggles. If the old-timers were doing it, maybe there's something there for us too, huh? Why not give it a shot and use your story to find your own strength? And speaking of stuff making a comeback, how about essential oils? Maybe you've seen them popping up all over the place. Modern folks think they've stumbled onto some groundbreaking discovery. But come on. Anyone who watched their mom or grandma use lavender to calm down or eucalyptus to clear a stuffy nose knows this isn't new. It's like we're finally waking up and realizing these old tricks are actually gold. So, how about tapping into that wisdom your grandma probably had on lock? Could be the best choice you make all day. Let's talk about resilience. Man, this word is all over the place now, right? Everyone's trying to be more resilient these days. But do we really get what that's about? Our modern world is filled with all these guides and hacks to teach you how to be strong. But guess what? The ancients? They were the original life coaches. Take the Stoics, for example. Those guys knew how to handle life's curveballs. No drama, no fuss. Their secret? Accept what you can't change and focus on what you can. Simple, right? Maybe we could all use a bit more of that mindset and less of the why me attitude. Ever notice how, when it comes to health, we're always rushing to the latest, greatest, most expensive fix? A new miracle pill, some high-tech therapy. It's like, the fancier it sounds, the more we trust it. But here's the deal. Way before we made things complicated, our ancestors were already nailing it with stuff that really worked. Remember that chamomile tea your grandma would swear by when you couldn't sleep? And guess what? It actually worked, right? Funny thing is, the world's kind of catching on to this again. Acupuncture, for example, used to be weird to a lot of folks, but now it's got doctors recommending it left and right. Shows you how what's old school can be the new cool. And let's be real, this whole idea that natural stuff doesn't work? Total garbage. Sure, modern medicine does wonders, but sometimes that turmeric your great-grandmother used to use, it's beating a lot of those pharmacy pills hands down. Our ancestors knew the power of plants, food, and even energy way before we started labeling everything. Look at the whole trend around intermittent fasting. That's just some ancient practice making a huge comeback now. The funny thing is, the same folks who used to roll their eyes at these out-there methods are now all in. So, how about giving something that's been around forever a try? You might just find your new go-to. While the modern world chases costly and complicated solutions, ancient wisdom talks about slowing down and simply reconnecting with the earth. Feeling burned out? Instead of buying that miracle supplement, why not take a walk in the park? Studies show that the practice of forest bathing, common in Japan, can lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and improve well-being. Folks over there have been doing it for centuries. But today, what was once natural has become a trend in big cities. And it even has a fancy name now. Ecotherapy. Go figure, right? One striking example is the growing interest in community gardens and the farm-to-table movement in the United States. These initiatives are reconnecting people to the natural food cycle. And you know what? They're rediscovering the satisfaction of planting and harvesting their own food, something our grandparents did without a second thought. Instead of moving away from nature, why not get closer to it? Whether it's growing a small garden, walking barefoot on the grass, or simply spending more time outdoors, the return to ancient practices of connecting with nature is undoubtedly outshining modern industry. So, are you up for reconnecting? A great practical example of this is the rising popularity of intermittent fasting, which is actually an ancient technique from various cultures. Who would have thought, right? In the quest for health, many are going back to basics, to what our ancestors practiced without even knowing what biohacking was. Sometimes, the best medicine is to go back in time. And you? Have you tried simplifying some part of your life? You'll see. Maybe the answer isn't in that latest 3-day detox fad, but in a morning walk like your grandma used to do. It's worth a shot. Here's one that might blow your mind. Cities are slowly killing us. It's pollution, it's rush, it's the disconnection from nature. Modern industry has invented 1,000 ways for us to deal with it, from vitamin supplements to expensive detox programs. But you know what? Indigenous peoples in many ancient cultures already knew the best medicine was right in front of us: nature. And today, there's even scientific research proving that spending time in green spaces reduces stress, improves mood, and even boosts the immune system. Who knew, right? And they didn't need charts or analyses, they just knew. Think about it. In the middle of all this digital madness, where we're always chasing the next big tech trend, who would have thought that the solution to many of our daily problems lies in something so simple? The truth is, modernity has brought us a million options, but do we really need all of them? The ancients knew we didn't. Their wisdom was all about cutting the excess, focusing on what's essential. In Zen philosophy, for example, a simple life is the key to a peaceful mind. No complications, just a lifestyle that clears away the unnecessary. In today's world, flooded with choices, those who follow this philosophy end up finding something rare: mental clarity. And hey, aren't you curious to know more? While the modern market pushes more and more revolutionary products and solutions, ancient teachings tell us the opposite. It's obvious that instead of adding more stuff to our routine, the answer might be in reducing it. Think of minimalism, which became a trend a few years ago. It's really just a modern twist on ancient practices. The idea is simple: less is more. Have you noticed that Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy, is booming in self-help circles today? Because in the end, those folks had it right. If you can control your feelings and thoughts, you live better. And what today's gurus preach is just a remix of those ideas, isn't it?